Welcome to NewsNation's Backscroll, where we look back at our major news coverage on the most important topics and personalities of our time.
Are we alone? Ooh. There are an estimated 2 trillion galaxies in the universe, and while some UFO sightings like these point to possible alien interaction, officials here on Earth have yet to confirm the existence of extraterrestrials. And now scientists are attempting to explain why, revealing their theories on the lack of alien contact, despite some saying there is a 100% chance that other life does indeed exist somewhere out there in the universe, in this article from the Daily Mail out this week. So one of the contributors to that article is joining us now, galactic astronomer Frederick Walter, professor at Stony Brook University. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning.
So we often imagine alien creatures as being, they've got they're green beings, or we think about ET, phone home, that kind of thing. But you say the simplest answer to the lack of alien contact is that other life might not be as advanced as we are. What do you mean?
Well, life is probably common in the universe. It's a biochemical process. But, there are a lot of steps involved in getting from simple microbial life to us, or to something that is capable of building technology, building radios, building spacecraft, for example. So the simplest answer is, there's not very many of them out there. They're awfully far away. It's hard to contact, to undertake contact over very long distances. Another possibility is the great filter, that perhaps we reach a plateau in our development, and then we don't go any further. We kill ourselves off if our knowledge exceeds, or if our technology exceeds our wisdom to use it.
Okay, well, if there is extraterrestrial life out there, do you think they're hiding from us?
No. It's there are a number of ways you can explain Fermi's paradox. Where are they? And one of the possibilities that has come up is that maybe they are here and we don't know how to look for them. Maybe we're in a quarantine. Now, these are science fiction type speculations.
Yeah, of course. But you know what? So this is some of NewsNation's highest rated content. There's a lot of people out there who are very interested in all of this. What about the chances that other civilizations have actually emerged in space, but they already wiped themselves out?
Well, that's the part of the filter hypothesis. There are a number of ways we can wipe out of nuclear war. Climate change can kick us back to the Stone Age. There are a number of things that that you can envision that would keep us from leaving our planet. So why are we have one example, to work with. That's us. Why should other intelligent species be that much different than us?
Right, there you go. I mean, gosh, we just really don't have a clue, do we? We're a speck of sand on a beach of many, many planets out there, essentially. Frederick Walter, thank you so much for your time today.
This is a great story. The curiosity surrounding alien megastructures is gaining momentum. After a study was published in May, researchers used telescopes to look at 5 million stars with 1,000 light years from Earth. That's how far away they are. And they found 7 stars had infrared light. So what does that mean? Scientists say they can't confirm if the infrared light is evidence of these so-called alien megastructures or Dyson spheres, but they can confirm, if we can confirm they do exist, that we could, quote, do things unheard of, like interstellar travel. So who do we go to in times like this? Is NewsNation special correspondent Ross Coulthart. Ross, thank you so much for joining us. I went down a rabbit hole last night because initially I saw the word Dyson and I thought maybe I was reading about a vacuum, and then I went down a vacuum. And, scientists say that the possibilities are really endless if these Dyson spheres exist, if humans can harness that technology. Well, what is it?
It's a wonderful idea, Elizabeth. Firstly, good morning. About 60 plus years ago, there was a physicist called Freeman Dyson who came up with a clever idea. And it was the idea that physicists, like the rest of us, are fascinated to know, are we alone? And so the way they look for life in the universe is they look for techno-signatures. They look for signs of something technological that might indicate there's an alien civilization out there. And Freeman Dyson came up with this idea that if there's a civilization advanced enough, it's probably a type 2 civilization that can harness the power of its star. And the way you would do that, he postulated, was by building a megastructure around that star to harness its energy. And theoretically, if there are such megastructures, you should be able to see the infrared radiation. And that's what they've been looking for in this new study. And they've found 7 of these weird stars with this rather unusual infrared radiation that at the moment can't be properly explained. And so one possible explanation is that it's an alien civilization using something like a megastructure to harness the energy of that star. It's actually quite exciting. My personal opinion, Elizabeth, is that we'll probably find life far closer to Earth, perhaps even on this planet, before we find alien megastructures. But it's nonetheless wonderful whimsy, and I love the idea that physicists are as keen as we are to find out, are we alone?
Yeah, and I think that the technology keeps on getting more and more advanced, and we get these new discoveries. You said the word possible in one of the descriptions. So my question to you, as just a layman, is if we can prove there are these Dyson spheres, does that prove of existence, or could it be a natural infrared existence? Does that make sense?
This is the annoying thing about science, is there's always other explanations. And one of the other explanations is that, yes, there may be natural phenomena that can explain the reasons for this infrared radiation. And one of the best possible explanations is that it could simply be a new star, because the way our Earth was created, we were basically composed of matter that was compressed together by gravity from swirling dust particles around a sun. And it could very well be that's what we're seeing on some new star somewhere. But frankly, I love the idea that it might be an alien civilization, because theoretically, there's every likelihood, there's an absolute probability that there is life out there. It's not an if or a but, it's an absolute definite. Now, we know for a fact that statistically there must be advanced intelligent life out there. We are very likely not alone in this universe.
I mean, and Ross, when you say if you have a choice to believe it could be a brand new star or it could be another form of life, I mean, let's have a little fun, right? Let's just say it's another form of life and go from there. Ross Coulthart, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
A controversial new theory is generating buzz this morning, and it all has to do with aliens and time travel. NewsNation special correspondent Ross Coulthart dives into the theory that aliens are actually future humans during his latest episode of NewsNation's Reality Check podcast. And Coulthart asked the question, why do aliens have a human shape?
If you look at these great aliens, they seemingly have a form consistent with the continued evolution of these traits, namely an increase in brain size, mediolateral expansion, what we call neurocranial globularity, a continued reduction and retraction of our mid and lower facial anatomy, smaller ears, more intelligence.
Okay, joining me now, NewsNation special correspondent Ross Coulthart. Ross, thanks for joining us on this Monday morning. In that clip that we were just playing there, I believe you were chatting with Dr. Masters. Break down this theory for us. What exactly was he hypothesizing there?
So Dr. Michael Mastersbrook is a professor of biological anthropology at the Montana Tech University in Butte, Montana. And he's come up with this theory that when you look at the classic description of aliens, they're always humanoid. They've always got 2 eyes, they've got 2 arms, they've got 2 legs. And he looks, as a scientist, at the biological improbability of beings in other parts of the universe developing exactly those same kind of characteristics. And it's very, very unlikely. The reality is that whatever they are, they're probably related to us, and that's his theory. His theory is that they are perhaps future humans, that we've evolved into these big-headed grey creatures, perhaps in a new world after some catastrophe or apocalypse, and that what we've done is adapt to the new environment. And he's also just recently published a new paper suggesting that whatever these beings are, they could actually be living amongst us as crypto-terrestrials.
Is this what he means when he refers to biocultural evolution, that idea that there was some, horrible thing that happened and we sort of had to evolve to continue living?
Sure. I mean, one of the things that is a consistent theme of many UAP experiences, people who say they've had encounters with entities or beings, is the commonality of their descriptions of these beings with big black eyes, which are consistent with perhaps beings that are living in an environment with considerably less sunlight than we have now. And heaven forbid that this ever does come to pass, but of course one of the apocalyptic predictions for this planet, and we live in precarious times right now, is the possibility of nuclear war that might cause some kind of nuclear winter that blocks out the sun's light perpetually. And the risk of that is enormous. And how would we evolve if that did happen? And the speculation that he makes, and I think there's some legs to what he's suggesting, is that these beings, if they exist, whatever they are, they do look a lot like us.
Now to a preview of our special report, Confessions of a UFO Hunter. Take a look.
There are many commentators who say that the non-human beings, the aliens, call them what you like, they're friendly, they're benevolent, that if they're real, they're no threat at all to humanity. Can we assume that?
Well, I think in order to understand if something is a threat, from a national security perspective, it's a very simple calculus. It's capabilities versus intent. We have examples where these things have disabled our nuclear capabilities, right? Like we see with Malmstrom Air Force Base and whatnot, where entire flights of our nuclear, part of our nuclear triad, has been taken offline, right? Nowhere did they stop our advancement from atomic technology development to nuclear technology. They didn't stop us testing weapons out in Nevada, and they didn't stop the proliferation of nuclear weapons from getting into the hands of other countries that are unfriendly, of countries like North Korea, and now India has them. And so I ask you, if these things are benevolent, why haven't they stopped that? There's zero information to suggest that what they are doing is for benevolent reasons.
Millions around the globe and maybe even beyond are celebrating World UFO Day. Okay, July 2nd is the anniversary of the 1947 crash of an unidentified flying object in Roswell, New Mexico, which the Army later said was a scientific balloon. 75 years later, the government still says there's no evidence of non-human life. But that narrative has started to shift since NewsNation's bombshell interview with UFO whistleblower David Grush.
When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean?
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
This jaw-dropping NewsNation exclusive leading to congressional hearings and a federal UFO program. A member of the intelligence community and a pioneer in getting to the truth is NewsNation special correspondent Ross Coulthart. Sir, I love when you are on the show because each time it kind of gives me chills because part of me wants to know, the other part of me is like, I don't want to know, Ross. As someone who has spent decades investigating UAPs, how has the perception of UFOs changed over the last year, specifically after David Grush's claims went public?
Good morning, Nick. Well, I can tell you there's been a real drift in the public's skepticism about the government's claims on UFOs. A vast majority, nearly 66% of Americans think the US government is concealing information about UFOs, and that's from a very recent poll. And I think there's good reason for that skepticism. I think even senators senior people in the Defense Department and intelligence community are now saying quite openly that they believe there's a lot more to be revealed by the US Department of Defense, the intelligence community, and indeed by the White House about what the government really knows. And I don't think the public's buying it anymore. I think the public is basically ready for answers. And frankly, a lot of people are telling me they want this to be an election issue.
They clearly want it to be top of mind, because you just mentioned that poll showing that 65% of Americans believe intelligent life exists beyond Earth. Why are more people taking the conversation more seriously, Ross? Is it because we're talking about it more, or is it because they have less faith in maybe political leaders always telling them the truth?
I think, to be honest with you, I think Americans have every reason to be skeptical about their government. They've been lied to in the past as a pretext for going to war. And I do think that the evidence is increasingly suggesting that the American government is, and incredible as this may sound, it is concealing its knowledge of a non-human intelligence. And as you know, I'm hearing this not just from David Grush, but from multiple sources who are allegedly working within what's called the Legacy Program, which is a secret program being operated by the US government involving the retrieval of non-human technology. And I have to say, yes, this particular day that we're celebrating, World UFO Day, it honours the memory of a day, July the 2nd, 1947, when the Roswell crash happened. But I think the interesting thing is there's been a lot more crashes since, and those recoveries, those retrievals of craft continue to this day. And it's incredible as that may sound, there are now very authoritative people in the defence and intelligence community saying that the government needs to come straight about this, that essentially it's not being honest with the American public. And I think if you look at the legislation that's been drafted by the Congress demanding that the various arms of government disclose what they know about non-human intelligence technology, which is an incredible thing to be written in legislation. If Congress is prepared to write that, it means it knows something. And it does. I can assure you it does.
It's important also to mention, though, even though you spoke with David Grush on the record, you had other sources telling you this information as well. So we will continue to follow this, Ross, because you know we love this stuff. Ross Coulthart, thank you so much, sir.
Good to talk to you, Nick.
Good to talk to you. And you can watch Reality Check with Ross Coulthart exclusively online. Just scan that QR code that you see right there on your screen, or visit NewsNation's website or YouTube page.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.